In today's video, we're talking about how to plan your wedding ceremony playlist, and we're starting right now. You have your ceremony planned, but what about the soundtrack? Music for your wedding ceremony can really enhance the experience for everyone involved. But how do you figure out what music you should have and when you should play it? We'll cover all this, so hang out until the end so you don't miss a thing. So first, what songs do you need to pick? For most folks, you're gonna need between 1 and 3 processional songs, maybe a song for during your ceremony, and then a recessional song. Something like 2 to 5 songs is what you typically need to choose. Seems easy, right? Well, it can actually be a little daunting. I mean, there are so many songs in the world. How do you even narrow it down? In some cases, your ceremony venue will have already done that for you, because a lot of times, a more formal ceremony at a place of worship has a specific song list you have to choose from. That makes it a little less personalizable, but certainly a faster decision-making process. If that's you, I suggest grabbing your partner and hopping on YouTube to search up the songs you have to choose from. Listen to a few different versions of each of them so you can get a good feel for what they will sound like. If you'll have live music for your ceremony, you'll want to listen to versions that are recorded with the same instruments you'll be having. Again, so you can get the most accurate idea of the songs you're choosing between. One rookie mistake, which you're not going to make because you're smart enough to be watching this video, is to only listen to the first part of a song. I would suggest listening to at least a few minutes of each song, which is more than enough. Your processional will typically not be shorter than that, but if you have a huge wedding party, slow walkers, or an extra long aisle, you may end up using more of the song than you expect. You want to make sure there's not a later part in the song that you dislike, and if so, communicate that to your musicians so they can loop the part you like accordingly. Okay, so next, why would you need 1 to 3 processional songs? How can you need more than one? Well, the truth is, you don't. But some people prefer to have more than one song featured for their processional because they want to have some music changes happen. We most often see those changes happen after the grandparents and parents, before the wedding party, and then again after the wedding party and before the bride. But this is totally up to you. You can do a single song or just 2. I wouldn't recommend more than 2 transitions in this process though, as it can get messy and feel a little choppy if you aren't able to play a nice chunk of each song you select. If you don't have a provided music list you have to choose from, the picking gets a little tougher because it may seem overwhelming to think of how much music is out there to choose from. So I'm going to help you a little by narrowing it down to what I know works. This doesn't mean you have to follow these guidelines. If you have a song you've always dreamed of walking down the aisle to, then by all means, you do you. But if you need some helpful parameters, here's what I would suggest. First, choose something that feels light, soft, and romantic. Second, choose something with no lyrics or with simple, easy lyrics so that the words don't distract from the moment. And finally, choose something that is fairly similar throughout the song so there are no jarring transitions during your processional. If you stick to those guidelines, you should wind up with something that has a good ceremony vibe. Now, do you need to have more music during the ceremony? Not unless you want to. Do you have a relative or friend who is a musician that wants to perform a song for your ceremony? That can make for a nice musical interlude. If you have a section of your ceremony where there is a time without a whole lot of action, you may want to have some music for the background of that. We've seen some pretty background music played during formal church ceremonies, communion, prayer, blessing time, or in the background during a reading. If this is something you'd like to do, remember the guidelines for your processional song selections and try to consider them here as well. Especially consider that you'd likely want only instrumental music if other words are being spoken at the same time. Now that you've got the processional music down and any during the ceremony music pick, the last song you need to choose is your recessional. This is one of my favorite wedding songs you get to pick. Usually, I call this song your happy walk, since all the formalities of the ceremony are done at this point, and now you get to focus on celebrating. For most people, the process of the ceremony can be pretty stressful. So when you get to this point, it also feels like a huge stress relief. For me, the best recessional songs are a bit peppy and bright with some rhythm and fun to them. If you've picked pretty traditional songs to this point, the recessional can be a great chance to go off the beaten path a bit and pick something a little less common. One of my all-time favorites was a couple who chose to have their acoustic guitarist, who is also an awesome vocalist, play his version of Rusted Roots' Send Me On My Way. It was so fun and so perfect for them. But as always, you should choose something that works for you. Pick a song that reflects you as a couple and something that will bring you fun and happy memories each time you hear it after your wedding. If you're still working on planning your ceremony itself, check out our video linked on screen for more tips on that. And as always, happy planning, and we'll see you next time.